What is the cost of living in Nashville, Tennessee? What does it take to live comfortably here in Nashville? We're going to talk about that on this video right now. Welcome back. So in this video, we are going to talk about the cost of living, the nitty-gritty of what it takes to live comfortably here in Nashville, Tennessee for a family of 4. If you're new to my channel, I am Susan Thetford. I'm a lifelong Nashvilleian, realtor with Parks Properties, and here on this channel, which I invite you to subscribe to, mash that bell so you don't miss a thing. I drop a new video every single week, and we talk about all things Nashville, upcoming events, and all things real estate to help the transition that you're hoping to make. We invite you to come. I hope to make the real estate transaction very simple for you. So the last 10 years for Nashville has been a whirlwind, and we are now in pretty much every single IT city and great list there is. So for us native Nashvilleians, we see the cost of living has really risen. We are no longer the sleepy little town that was kind of a gem that we kept quiet. We are now in the public eye, and as people have moved in, that's the way the market works, the cost of living for us has really risen. So, is the cost of living affordable? If you ask some of the native Nashvilleians who've been here for 10, 20 years or more, they're going to say, wow, it's skyrocketed. But let's look at the reality of comparing Nashville to other major cities throughout the country and their cost of living. One of the main reasons that Nashville has become such an attractive place for corporations and headquarters to move to is because we have no state income tax. We are one of 9 states in the country that have 0 income tax. Tennessee has also been ranked the number 7 best states to retire to, partially in fact that we have no estate taxes here in the state, and we also are phasing out our dividend income tax. That will be completely phased out by the year 2020. So the state of Tennessee is highly attractive for those 2 reasons alone. Now, in comparing cities, the cost of living from city to city, there is a cost of living calculator that is widely accepted as the best way to do a comparison. That calculator takes into account the major costs of living being housing, food, transportation, energy, healthcare, and taxes. Now, we've talked about taxes, highly favorable for us here in Tennessee and for us in Nashville. Now, as a realtor, I am seeing people from up north, Boston, Chicago, moving here. I'm also seeing people from across the Mississippi, both Dallas, Texas, and several cities in California. We're getting a lot of people moving here. We're also having young people move here because they just want to be here from all over. So I did an analysis using the cost of living index. Taking into account those factors that I mentioned in the cost of living index, I have gone to several cities around the country and compared to see how much more or less would it cost for someone to move to a new city with the same job. So to do a genuine comparison, I have selected a $60,000 salary for someone living in Louisville, Kentucky. If they have a $60,000 salary living in Louisville, how much more or less would it cost, given those factors, the transportation, the healthcare, how much more or less would it cost to move to Nashville, Tennessee? And it's basically the same. The cost of living in Louisville, Kentucky, with all those factors, is basically the same as here in Nashville, Tennessee. However, when you look at Boston, Massachusetts in comparison to Nashville, the cost of living is 36% less in Nashville than in Boston. And given that, the same job in Boston at $60,000, you can take an 18% less salary here in Nashville, Tennessee, and still have a positive disposable income of $11,000 more money living here in Nashville versus Boston, Massachusetts. Let's take a look at Dallas, Texas. Lots of people moving here from Dallas. That same $60,000 income in Dallas, Texas, the cost of living is 12% less here in Nashville, Tennessee, taking into account those factors that I mentioned before. The salary in Nashville for that same position that's giving $60,000 income in Dallas, here that salary is probably 6% or so less. However, you still have a net change in disposable income of $3,500 more in moving from Dallas, Texas to Nashville, Tennessee. Let's take a look at Los Angeles. Again, given that you have a $60,000 salary in Los Angeles, you bring that same expertise here to Nashville, Tennessee, the cost of living in Nashville is 37% lower. For those factors, 37% lower cost of living in Nashville versus Los Angeles, California. Now, when you come here, your salary is going to be 17% less for the same position, but that still leaves you a net change in disposable income of more money here in Nashville of $12,000. That's a pretty respectable change. So although the salary in many of these cities, in these larger cities that people are moving to Nashville from, the salary that someone would receive here in Nashville is lower, our factors of costs of living are lower as well. Every single one of them is a positive net disposable income change by moving to Nashville. Why don't you check out your own cost of living factor by going to the cost of living calculator. I will put the link to that cost of living calculator in. It's at salary.com. It's really fun. All you need to do is plug in your city where you're coming from and your income, and then come into Nashville, and it will give you the same differential factors that I just gave you for your specific city. So as you see, the cost of living in Nashville is very favorable in comparison to some of the larger metros around the country. You add to that our rolling hillsides, the just beautiful lakes, the parks, the great outdoor living, the easy access to interstates to get across the country or our international airport. You add the entrepreneurship, the vibrancy of the city. Now we've got some transportation issues. You need a car. But we have so many outdoor things to do. We have lots of free activities for families between churches and the church communities that people can grow to, meetup groups. Nashville is a very friendly, cost-effective place to move to if you're searching for a new home. I look forward to meeting you. If you would like to know a little bit more, you might want to check out my video about living in Nashville. 5 things I love and 5 things I could do without about living right here in Nashville. Also check out some of my videos on my favorite neighborhoods. What are the places that I love, and where are the places that I think are up-and-coming neighborhoods where some real value can be made? And maybe your home isn't settled yet, but the Nashville rising prices have you a little bit worried. I've got a way. Check out this video. I've got a way to share with you how you can buy a home here in Nashville without having your home sold wherever you're coming from, because we don't take offers anymore subject to the sale of another home, and I don't want you to miss out on the perfect home for you. Glad to share that information with you as well. Give me a call. So as you see, Nashville actually is very cost effective when you're looking at the cost of living. We compare quite favorably to most large metros throughout the country. Now it is a little bit of a shock for us natives because our little city is growing up. Let me know how I may help you. Please remember, subscribe to my channel. If you'd like to know about all things Nashville, mash that bell so you don't miss a thing, and I look forward to seeing you next week.